Hello, everyone. I think we're live.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Shrups LP, and welcome to, oh God, what is today? July 10th, and this edition of Whiskey Live's Political Recap. I am joined, as always, with my moist co-host, Omegon. Say hello, Omegon.
Hello.
Omegon, how are you today?
I'm alright, actually. Been very productive, got lots of things done, and this is the last thing I'm doing today, actually. Quite happy with that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. What about yourself?
Oh, it's a Friday, one of those days that I actually didn't have to work, so
Hey.
I'm always a fan.
Did you get much done otherwise? Have you got a drink tonight, by the way?
I do. Knob Creek.
You really are stuck
I
on that Nut
really
Creek, aren't you?
enjoy this. I'm partial to it, yeah.
Not complaining, I haven't had it,
Mm. If I get the chance, I will send you a bottle. I don't know exactly how I have to send
You
bottles.
can't the bottle empty, yes, but alcohol, no.
I can't send alcohol?
No, there's a thing. You can't.
That's
The States,
bullshit.
you guys in the States can't send us booze. Otherwise, we would have bought up
That's
all your
bull.
Everclear.
Why?
Because we like to hurt ourselves. We're gluttons for punishment.
I suppose, but my God.
Yeah, we have
That's
issues.
terrible.
We just have issues. Okay.
How's the chat today? Let's see. Who do we have? We have Calamari, XX, Gemma Deering, Discanar, Sean, Always Lost on Nothing Else, Linda, Dog Rampant, The Lovebirds. Oh, we've got a full chat. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining.
Can I correct you just on one thing?
Please.
It's not Gemma, it's Gemma.
Is it?
Yeah, that's how we pronounce it here.
Okay. See, whenever I don't intrinsically know something, I default to Latin pronunciations.
Yeah, I would too. To be fair, well, not Latin, more. I'd go with my nieces do the phonetics thing, and it always comes out really funny. So I'd resort to phonetics just for lols. Because kids are taught.
Yeah, I default to Latin because in Spanish everything defaults to Latin.
Gemma, it's your birthday tomorrow. I don't know about shout out.
Oh
but
well,
happy
happy
birthday
early birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday tomorrow. Hope you have a cracking day.
Yes.
So
what is going on in the UK lately?
quite a bit.
Really?
Some of which I have covered, some of which I have not. Obviously, the title of this stream, Trump's taxes in Oklahoma. I vaguely recall hearing about these, and I thought, I haven't had a word with Trump's yet, but I'm pretty sure he might know something about these because this could get spicy.
Yes, I have.
But with the UK, we have okay. So there is a new domestic abuse bill coming in, which has been amended to include the. It's no longer a valid excuse to say consent for gratification, in the sense of they were okay with the abuse in the boudoir. That's not allowed anymore. So you can
In the boudoir.
Yeah, you can't just fucking do a bit aggressively. It is an excuse used traditionally by a lot of the more, like for example, murderers can't use this excuse if they killed someone, with the excuse being consent for sexual gratification, because some people get off on that kind of stuff, don't they?
What does that exactly mean? I feel like I'm a bit confused.
Let's go down the BDSM dominatrix kind of path.
Okay, yes.
That kind of ballpark.
Okay,
Meg, you're kind of quiet. Right. I do apologise. The microphone is fully turned up. I will move things and move my microphone really close to my face. No, I won't do that. That would hurt people's ears.
Yes.
That's basically the premise. Sorry about that. This bill was introduced in 2017, 2018 by Theresa May. Originally, it was only for women, to support women. It was meant to also help with. Okay, so there were a lot of parts of this that were originally rejected, or not rejected, but made to go back a little with additional readings because of MPs that wanted second readings or third readings, just to take the time with it, which got a lot of those MPs into a bit of trouble. And I can understand that. I can understand it. But the bill also has some changes. So, under law, children who see, hear, or experience the effects of domestic abuse are treated as victims as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also this
That's
would,
Mississippi.
yeah. But it will also introduce this first legal government definition of domestic abuse that includes economic abuse and coercive or controlling non-physical behavior.
Okay, so
Um,
that sounds like gaslighting to me.
it kind of does. The economic abuse is where they focus predominantly on those who control their partner's bank account, what money they can have and what they don't. That is considered abuse.
Mm-hmm.
Coercive, controlling behavior has been recognized in law anyway, but they're attaching it to this as well to give it that extra like gravitas.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the discussions of this, including Jess Phillips, who is the Minister for Domestic Violence and Safeguarding, she actually has a cabinet role. All of them focus on women, which is slightly irksome, especially in the bill itself, because that means you're yet again, even though again statistics are showing some rather damaging numbers, guys are getting ignored again, and I think that's not a good idea. And
I hate to say that, it doesn't surprise me though.
it doesn't surprise me either. I know the Home Office Minister Victoria Atkins. She's been advocating for the rough sex defense to be, like absolutely. There's no context where this could ever be used ever. And I'm sat back thinking, this is why UK porn is the dullest porn you'll ever come across. Because these
Didn't you guys make a law recently that said that you can't even depict what could be construed as, for sexual contact?
I think so, yes. Which is quite interesting because I think it's just, I don't know, it's a bit tragic. But that's not surprising if you've got Conservatives in charge, especially. They're always going to be very much against it.
Even so, though, I imagine because it's only expected that conservatives end up at some point being revealed to get in on some kind of freaky shit.
Yeah, well, actually, many have been busted over the years for being involved in.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm aware.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, there are some gaps in this law. Most notably, there's a gap for protections of DV who then in turn commit crimes in the context of being in that abusive relationship, like an argument of self-defense, essentially. Obviously, men are not mentioned. It's very, very gendered. But there's also no help for those who are immigrants that because of their immigration status have no access to public funding to get help or be helped at, for example, shelters. They're not eligible, and I can understand why. If as far as I'm concerned, if you come here, you pay your way, or you are contributing to society, you should have access to all services because you're and that's
because you're part of the country and you
yeah
pay into
yeah
it.
yeah you're so I think that's a gap that needs addressing. I by the way, I was going to do a video on this, but I thought can't realistically do that. So perhaps
hard to do in a video format. I've been noticing that for myself as well, that certain aspects or certain stories lend themselves better to stream conversations as opposed to videos.
I also think that because these streams always get demonetized, it's just better to put them here.
That's fair too.
And also I think that the bill, it's going to go through. There's no denying it. It's not just because of the majority, it's because most MPs will blindly support this. It's just going to take some men's rights activists, yet again getting called misogynists, to continually rail them for using gendered language in the way they are, and for also not offering any help to male victims. Because there's very little recognition of male victims in this. And that's...
Now, I know that a bunch of people have said in the past that it's because people like Jess Phillips, for instance, are just blatantly misandrous. They just hate men, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much do you think that's true?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure.
Because, I watched Dankula's video on this this bill that was
The
being
hate
passed.
crime bill in Scotland.
Yeah, which is also blatantly gendered.
It is. I saw it.
And I do worry about that kind of mentality, because the what ends up happening when you kind of isolate down what this hate crime bill basically does is it actually does create what they are alleging to try and fix, and a unequal representation under the law in your country for people of marginalized groups. Well, when you do that, but you don't include white men, which is essentially what it eventually boils down to, you basically have created an unequal class.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, no one here is like, this is revolutionary. This is mind blowing. No one's ever heard this before. This is obvious. But I'm trying to figure out why they are so keen on putting down white men in general.
I'm not too sure.
Or even some minority men that agree with white men.
It's it seems it's not even a grey area. It's just I don't get it. I find it fascinating that the numbers are in front of these politicians. And in the chat, people have said they're brainwashed. Gemma said they're brainwashed by money. I tend to agree. These guys,
sure.
all you have to do is serve, 3 or 4 terms, and you get a full-on politician state pension. 20 years, and you get a pretty damn good salary for life.
How nice.
Yeah, all you have to do is just make sure you pander to your community. I do think with Jess, though, and it's maybe an unpopular thing to say, I think she does care. I've seen her community work. She really does care. But she is very obviously and clearly skewed with the experiences she has, and she mentioned it in Parliament, in fact. The article I've linked in the chat earlier, in that she gives a statement about a female victim and the amount of hell that person got through. And it's a harrowing story, yes. I'm not discounting that person. I'm merely saying you've highlighted one person to portray one larger point, all the while ignoring all the other people. And they are men and women, and they could be straight and or gay. It really doesn't matter, because anyone could be a victim. It's just statistics at the moment are, if you're going to do a pissing contest, yes, women apparently win this, although I'm not entirely sure you want the prize.
Right.
And I think it's the wrong mentality to go in on this, especially when there is no.
I've always had a hard time agreeing with women who like to take their victimhood and profit off it, because those who have suffered usually try to keep it to themselves the most. They will seek out the help they need at times, and there are those who don't, I know, but for the most part they will seek out that kind of fix and that kind of assistance to their problem. But for the most part, those who seek to profit off of their experiences, I have a hard time trusting them innately, because it seems like they're doing it for ulterior motives.
Yeah, I do want to quickly clarify one thing, because Linda says no thanks on that prize. I should say, at no point do I mean that. I promise you, I treat this incredibly seriously. I'm just stating what I see as a very obvious point. It's never spoken of, and I find that quite interesting. And the bill being brought forward, the what's it called, the domestic abuse bill, an updated version of it, to include the newer forms of DV and abuse, and it references women's charities and shelters, but it does not account for guys, and that is this is 2015 MRA stuff that I don't ever say I'm an MRA, but I will advocate for men's rights, and I do think if you're going to neglect a very large number with gendered language, then you're setting a dangerous precedent, and that's not good. No, I get it, Linda. I'm just I do want to make it clear, because someone is going to be and I call them this all the time, pedantic shits. I get this stick all the time from people who will, they'll pounce on it for the wrong reasons. So I'm not calling you out or anything like that. It's more me just clarifying something in case someone does, as they usually do.
If you want to be a pedantic shit, show up in my chat. I'll give you a warm fucking welcome.
He loves abuse. His
Oh yeah.
his safety word is Knob Creek. There's a hyphen in that. There's a hyphen in there.
Hmm.
It counts, okay. Should we move on, or do you want to
Yeah.
add this? Okay.
It's a hard topic to really add my 2 cents into because as far as it goes, like I don't have a lot of the experiences that are mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So it is hard for me to try and say for certain what a person should do in these circumstances, and
Yeah.
I don't feel it's right for me to tell them outright.
Okay.
That's not to say that I don't have opinions on it. It's just I don't think I've sat and thought about it enough to have a good opinion.
Would you like me to continue with UK stuff, or do you want to talk about something
Sure.
American? Okay.
Yeah, we
So,
can go to UK.
as everyone knows, I am self-employed. Currently, I am still self-employed as a YouTuber only, which is why I worry a lot about AdSense. Which is the only reason I worry about it is because I don't want to shill Patreon. I don't want to shill Streamlabs. I don't want to do that. So I want to make sure that what I earn comes from videos, which is why I've been changing things to make them ad-friendly, and I'm thankfully improving that. Yes, it's working.
I was about to shill your Patreon, but I realized it's not even in the link.
I'm not very comfortable linking things.
It's not even in the description.
Yeah. Well, for the streams, it's not because I have to add it all manually, and I forget things. This is important to politics. Yesterday or the day before, Rishi Sunak, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, gave and I'm sorry if you heard a weird sound from me. I went to speak and it sounded like I was trying not to hiccup and retch at the same time for odd reasons. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's like one of those weird moments you speak and a noise comes out and it's not your voice. But it's at the back of your throat and you can feel
I'm familiar.
Yeah. He unveiled a summer... what's it called? Summer... it's called a summer something. I've written it down. I have not. Summer spending bill? Summer spending bill, I believe. Now, this was important because it references all the furloughs, how the schemes will continue, but also a £30 billion bailout for many companies. And this would incentivize them to keep people on, take people back, to make sure they're not, they're able to give them their salaries. Everyone gets a £10 food voucher. That's not a joke. But then we come to me, which is why self-employment is important. Of all the UK taxpayers, 3 million people were not included in this. So you have 1.7 million people, 1.75, who are earning less than 50% from self-employment, less than 50 grand, that is. You have people who have 230,000 who are over 50,000. You have 500,000 who are newly self-employed. And you have between 500,000 and 900,000 limited company directors. Memories is first to go, indeed it is, Doug. Indeed it is. This is important because the way the self-employment income support scheme was, and the way it has gone with furlough with self-employed people, like myself, I was only able to, with the self-employment income support scheme, the SEISS, to apply once for a single payment, and that was supposed to help me survive during these times, during lockdown. I received enough to cover a few months' bills, and yes, so I was fine. And I'm eligible again in August for something, instead of being 80%, 70%, and I'm going to claim it because I need it. I'm just going to throw it at my tax bill anyway, so it's fine. Which is great because it's a huge dent then. But many people are not eligible because of what I earlier mentioned, because newly self-employed don't have 3 years' worth of tax returns, therefore they're not eligible. I was, but I wished it accounted for my most recent tax return because I would have gotten more money. Those who earn... Right, so those who earn... What was it? Earning just over 50,000, you could earn £50,001 and you would not be eligible. That's not even a joke. Yet somebody earning 49,999 could claim up to 2.5 grand. which could actually be more because apparently the payment is it's based on a few months. Basically, it's supposed to cover 3 months, so they could claim up to 7,500. I should now tell you, for the sake of clarity, I got nowhere near that. Okay, I'm not jealous. I'm just saying I really wished it included this year's tax return. So there are people who are being excluded, and this has caused a problem because during the summer spending bill Rishi Sunak gave, yet again these people were ignored. There were also a number of people who were not included, who were denied furlough on just on the principle, but they're just denied cause. There's no reason given. If 3 million people are excluded and there's an X number of people denied on the face of it, and yet they are taxpayers, why are they being omitted from all this money being borrowed to then be given out to help everyone else? Because, and then I get it with people who earn over 50,000, people think, but they've got money in the bank. That doesn't mean they have money in the bank. It means they make a decent salary. It also means they pay a significant amount of tax. If you are self-employed and you earn over 50 grand, you're paying between 20 and 30%. That's still a chunk of that money gone. So actually you're not earning over 50,000 really after tax. You're earning quite a little bit less. Cost of living and location, and of course one's own living expenses, which could include a significant amount of debt if you are a business. Let's not forget running costs, which while they could be considered tax deductible, still means you're earning over 50 grand. So actually your total income is going to be much, much less. I do expenses, by the way, and my expenses account for about 20% of what I earn. And I declare it because I really should. It's a business expense. It's what you do. You keep receipts and you do that. But these people are being ignored. And again, I feel like it genuinely feels like they're being left out because they've done well and people think they've got money because of it. And I find that to be quite dangerous. It is unfair to treat sole traders and company directors in this way. And as maybe people hear the word director, they think, six-figure salary. Not always. It's a title. No. So I think, like, people, there are places that exist now called Excluded UK, and they have gone through a whole list of failures in Rishi Sunak's statement on this. And I find what I find most interesting about Rishi Sunak's summer spending statement was that not long afterwards, about a dozen companies, massive companies in this country, announced thousands of redundancies. You're being offered £30 billion to keep these people, and you've just said no, which is not helped by the fact that a vast number of people have now been saying publicly, and it's been reported on in the news, they are not interested in going out eating. They're not interested in going out and spending money because they're afraid. They're afraid of Corona-chan, and because they don't think the country is safe already. The problem with that is that only exists because of the fear that's been perpetuated instead of anyone being optimistic when they look at the numbers and how things have improved. So to help this, Boris even made a statement earlier today announcing his desire for people to go out again, which does mark a bit of a change. Marks a bit of a change from the government's work-from-home policy. And that was only a week ago he was saying this. So it's quite strange to have, on one hand, Brits saying they don't want to go outside, companies doing mass layoffs, Labour perpetuating the position of, while doing hindsight and saying we should now just blame the Prime Minister, but also, are you sure we're ready? I think people need to go outside and get some vitamin D so they can get some optimism. I could be wrong, though.
There are psychological effects of staying inside. There are actual, like, your mood will change based on your environment. When you are around areas that have a lot of sunshine and you get a lot of sunshine, you actually do have a statistically visible change in mood. So I would not be surprised if the government, trying to get people out of a slump, let's call it, encourage people to go outside.
I'm hoping it works. I'm hoping also with, like, the gyms opening on July 25th. I'm hoping, my gym, I had to reinstall the app because I forgot about it. I had to They put an announcement up saying they'll be opening, but obviously things will change. There's going to be social distancing in a very small gym, but you have to book appointments for when you go in. And all I've said is, I want 11 a.m. till 12. That's all I want. Give me an hour, and I'm happy, because I can just start smashing it again. That's all I want. I'm a very simple person. Get up at 7:30 or 6:30, go for a walk, come back, do some work, go to the gym, or if I time it right, walk, gym, work. Simples. I don't want to be stuck with an odd time, like at 9 or 10 p.m. or something stupid.
I have a friend who is actually much more of a night owl in that aspect. She very much likes the night shift in the gym.
I don't want to, because that's where most of the people are there based on the time. You can look online at when your gym has most people there. I don't want to be there when everyone else is there. I'd rather be there when there's less people. So nearer, like when people are at work, yes. I'm okay with that. And by the way, that was the next thing I wanted to quickly touch on. Pubs are open, gyms will be open, gigs will be open. Outdoor gigs will start up again. And I think this is fantastic. I'm hoping indoor gigs will obviously be then permitted as well, because obviously I've got 2 coming up this year. And that's great news as well, to be honest.
Do you think the UK is going to pull in America?
I'm not sure. Not yet.
Because now they alleged that a lot of the reasons why we ended up with spiking COVID numbers was because we had reopened too early, right?
Yeah.
That was the allegation. I think it has other root causes. I've detailed that in a video I did, I think, 2 weeks ago. Just I don't believe in too many coincidences. So the protests and then a 3-week period, and you see COVID numbers spiking. Well, okay, maybe it had something to do with it. And even the media tried their best to make it so that, the protests protesting to reopen the economy is bad. People could spread COVID. Black Lives Matter does a protest. Well, they won't spread COVID because they're doing it right. They're social distancing. They're wearing masks.
Okay.
COVID numbers jump at the point, at the 3-week mark after the protests start.
So
no, actually, it slowed COVID because people weren't allowed outside because of the rioters, and everyone's just confused looking at this.
I can actually add to this because the UK, because I had an article just ready for it. The UK has amended its rules that for travellers coming from the outside the UK, they won't have to self-isolate for 2 weeks. That applies to 75 countries, one of the main exceptions being Serbia. I'm assuming India will be on that list as well, since theirs is still going up as last time. And I believe the US, you're fine as far as I remember, because we had Ash here, didn't we? So, but this has also led to an increase in people booking short-term holidays abroad. But interestingly, many EU countries have started treating British tourists like they are social pariahs. So we'll see how that goes.
Just treating them poorly, or stay away.
Avoiding. And that, for the sake of it, based on all the notes I've written, that's all 5 things I had written from the UK for this stream.
All right, let's talk about America.
Where do you want to start? Oklahoma or
Let's start with Oklahoma, because that's the more nuanced one, and the one that I have probably the least amount of I have the understanding of the ruling that the Supreme Court passed, but the implications I'm not quite sure about, because I do not know how necessarily these will be implemented, right?
Well, I'm looking at it now. Tribal areas being affected by the ruling: Chickasaw Nation, Choctaw Nation, Seminole Nation, Muskogee Nation, and Cherokee Nation. Those areas appear to be a fair chunk of Oklahoma, and it's very close to Oklahoma City. That whole region.
It encompasses Tulsa.
That'll be interesting, because are they how are they going to do that?
So this one's an interesting one, because some people had so let me first give the context.
Please do.
So the Supreme Court, in dealing with a recent court case that was appealed all the way up to the Supreme Court, a man had been charged in Oklahoma for committing, I believe he murdered somebody. And his allegation was that when he was sentenced in Oklahoma, that it did not have jurisdiction because he is a member of an Indian reserve, or he was on Indian reserve property. Basically, he was trying to argue that the Indians actually had jurisdiction of him, not the state of Oklahoma.
I'm reading it now, by the way. Yeah, the ruling, by the way, overturns his prison sentence, but he still could be tried.
I know it does. Court. It also potentially overturns hundreds of prison sentences.
But he could be tried in a federal court anyway.
Yes. So, in the Indian federal reservations that still exist in the United States today, they are still subject to federal law, but they have what is considered kind of like a Washington, D.C. kind of self-governance in a sense, which is the part that gets a little weird. So Washington, D.C. Does not have Senate or House representation.
I just want to also quickly clarify. In the chat, yes, he had raped a 4-year-old girl. I've only just got to that part, so yeah.
I thought he murdered somebody too. Oh, that may have been a different case that was similar to this one.
I'm very interested in the fact that the ruling overturns the prison sentence, but there is a statement from the 5 tribes, a joint statement, welcoming the ruling, but agreeing to work with federal and state authorities to agree shared jurisdiction over the land. So that may well not change anything as far as how Tulsa operates, for example. That could be agreed to be considered federal, and it would just be left that way.
Well, the issue here is there are some, I think it was 1,400 or something along those lines, cases or people currently held in prison in that area. And some of them are for extremely heinous offenses. Does this mean that they get a retrial or a mistrial, and their prison sentence would have to be reversed, therefore having to retry them federally for all 1,400 of these? Well, that's a dicey question, and I guess that's something that the leaders of the reservation and the state have to work out. But more importantly, to me at least, is this Senate representation question, the Congress representation question. So Washington, D.C. is what's the word? It's their own territory within Maryland, but they don't have they don't have House of Representatives, in the actual federal congressional body. They also don't have senators. So, but they still have electoral votes. Like the area still has electoral votes. So my question is, the senators or the representatives who live in those districts, which are now Indian land, do they lose a job? Do they now lose representatives because Oklahoma has ceded its basically entire eastern half to basically a commonwealth, essentially?
Interestingly, only 1.8 million people live in that area. Whole area, and only 15% are Native American. Based on this ruling, I think it says here they're excluded from only federal courts prosecutors can criminally prosecute Native Americans accused of crimes. They may be exempt from state taxes. It'd be interesting to see how they work together for the 85% that are not Native American, because you can't, obviously they've already said in the joint statement they're going to work together. But I just want to go back. Just want to go back to the kiddie fiddler. So the ruling overturns his prison sentence. I would want the federal government to get involved if he was proven to have raped. I want him back in prison, because unless you're about to tell me Native Americans have a different prison system and they're going to deal with him in a sweat lodge or something, and just leave him in there until he dehydrates and becomes a fucking prune, or a raisin even. I don't think that's, unless it's a criminal justice system they have I don't know about it, which is likely, and it is one that is fair and just and not just done to protect one of your own. I want him back in prison.
Yeah, no, I definitely do too. And I believe the federal government said that they were going to prosecute him in lieu of this information.
Damn right they should. Motherfucker.
But I don't know. I don't know necessarily to what extent, or I don't know necessarily if this invokes double jeopardy.
You know what? It'd be very odd to in that. Oh, that's actually quite strange, isn't it? Because he's already been convicted under one law for it.
Correct. He's already been convicted, and then the Supreme Court reversed his prison sentence. Can he be tried again and convicted again? Because he's already been in threat of legal action or threat of punishment. So that technically means that he's been in jeopardy already. The idea of jeopardy is that a custodial sentence has been placed upon you.
Oh, he can't be. I'm not okay with him walking free at all. It's such a tricky one. I'm not. And someone mentioned in the chat, tribal justice system is corporal, not penal.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
It depends. Do they? Because I don't know what the tribe, whichever tribe does he belong to? He belongs to a tribe, I assume.
I believe so.
So
yeah.
if he does, do they treat him as a criminal or some kind of martyr? Because considering what he has,
I don't think the tribe thinks that he did a good thing.
Considering what it's done for them in the long run, are they willing to forgive that? You know what I mean?
I don't think so. Because I do not believe. Because
I'm only asking
they would not have extended that kind of we will work together with the state.
They actually, that's a point.
If they were like, yeah, this guy didn't deserve it.
So
they would have said something like justice has been served or something like that.
Yeah. I just want to clarify. I have to ask that question. It's an obvious one and it has to be said. I now actually would love to see if they'd work with them to stick him back in prison. I mean, it's a nice concession.
Probably.
We'll help you get him back in prison. Just let us, we'll, get some of our land back, does this set a precedent for other tribes? For other tribes in other states? That's dangerous.
And actually, a lot of people have mentioned that the reason why this had... So the majority opinion, the ruling on the Supreme Court case, basically said that the promises that were offered by the United States to those tribes were never fully they were basically encroached upon until they were no longer even kept. Like, we had promised that they will have a reservation that will in perpetuity, I believe was the wording. And they basically said over time that they chipped away at the reservation until it was what it was about a week ago. So, and then the argument was that they were never actually dissolved, those reservations, to become what is Oklahoma. And they said the majority of the reason why was because of lax wording by Congress at the time. So that means that if any of the other states happen to have made similar concessions, you may see more people trying to reverse their own prison sentences by arguing that because of this Supreme Court decision, that the jurisdiction that they were charged under did not actually have the right to prosecute them.
Oh
A
no.
lot of California is like that. In fact, a majority of San Francisco.
Do you want to read that one?
So from Okie Native, $5 donation. Thank you very much for the donation. He says the Supreme Court has also. She says the Supreme Court has also ruled that the U.S. government doesn't have to honor any of those treaties from history either. So take that as you will. Right, but this is the more current version. So they knew that in the past, and they said, "Nah, fuck you."
Oh dear Lord.
So I mean, yeah, in the history, the precedent was there to be able to say, nah, but they just said recently, yes, in fact. So the more recent, the more recent decision takes precedent.
Oh dear, that's a mess, isn't it?
It is, and it could be a large issue in the future, but who knows? We will see. Trump actually has the ability to basically say, no, that's bullshit. And completely different decision, you're mistaken. Well, they can't rule two different things in the same Supreme Court. so you're gonna have to be a little more specific. If they didn't do it in this iteration, yeah, this one wins.
Sad face.
And a dissenting opinion doesn't count. So we could see what happens here. Who knows? Maybe the entire United States will re-break up and reform into something completely different by next year.
Would you like some more British news? I've got one more.
No, I mean, we can go talk about Trump taxes. We only have like 15 minutes.
Oh, we can do that. Okay. Tell us about Trump's taxes.
Supreme Court has ruled in a 7-2 decision that Trump must release his taxes.
I know that his two appointees backed it.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Basically, it was because the argument that executive privilege does not stand here. And if they don't sorry, I was reading the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I was responding to Okie Native in chat. It's like, you're incorrect. You don't have background knowledge of these things. The specific decision will have little actual change of things. We shall see.
It'd be interesting to see how it plays out. That's what I think.
Yeah, we shall see. We already have a diddler who potentially just got off of his prison sentence, so things will definitely change. I promise you that. Mm-hmm. But we will see what happens, because they wouldn't have cared enough otherwise. I was actually, right before this stream, I was actually listening to an attorney talk about it. So the Trump tax things, basically they said that if it does not impede the ability of the president to provide certain tasks and it is not part of a criminal investigation, that the president has no reason to claim executive privilege.
That's quite yeah, okay. So what happens now then?
So Trump basically says that it says that Trump should release his tax returns. Now I'm
why do they need
I'm
them anyway?
less concerned about that, though.
Okay, what are you more concerned about?
Because I'm more concerned about people in the past. I'm more concerned about people who weren't millionaires when they went into office, but left millionaires. So when people increase their net worth while being the president of the United States by a number that exceeds the federal allotment for the president of the United States, I have to wonder where'd that other money come from. If you want the example, Barack Obama, I believe, tripled his net worth from the point that he was a senator to the point where he left office.
Well, he doesn't have to work again.
How'd you do that? Because a president's salary doesn't give you that much in 8 years.
You telling me you didn't have some kind of sponsorship deal with Cackberries?
Oh, I don't know. But this is the issue. I want to see everyone's. I want to definitely see all public officials. I want to see Nancy Pelosi. I want to see Mitch McConnell. I want to see Lindsey Graham. I want to see Ted Cruz. I want to see Chuck Schumer.
Hang on.
I want to see Joe Biden. I really want to see Joe Biden.
Thank you, the like button. Give me those dirty, dirty smashes for the £10 donation. It's very generous of you. And yes, smash like. I, by the way, don't share this. I don't care about people's tax returns. I genuinely don't. I know that this all goes to a grand jury, but I don't know then if it's made public. But I also, now I'm reading on it says here that it has to go back to a court to have the subpoena enforced, which delays the case. It's a victory for Cy Vance. I don't know who that is. I don't know what the case is either. Why do they need his tax returns?
I think they wanted to see if they could dig up dirt on him, to be honest with you. They had...
I thought they were just going to say, oh, he only has this much money, really. He's not a billionaire. That's what I thought it was going to be. Some kind of ponage, which is what I expect, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it is. And I believe they're looking for any improper usages of his funds, embezzlements,
just lots of McDonald's.
Hush payments, things like that.
Yeah, I get you. But it would just be McDonald's.
But I'm really interested to know what they would do if they did find something. Because if it's a criminal trial outside of his actions as a president, I do believe that is not something that you can then prosecute him for.
Stop.
You would have to impeach him.
Trups LP, channel Trups LP, donated $10 to Trups LP to say, subscribe to me.
Oh. Good job, me! Go me.
Well done, you. Giving yourself money.
Yeah.
So good of you.
That's an interesting way to handle that.
Yes. Carry on.
I wonder how I do that on my tax returns now that I think about it.
It'd be a bit strange. It's considered a business expense.
Yeah, that's a business expense. I get tax refund on myself.
Well done.
So I'm very interested to see where what they would do with it, honestly, because obviously they're going to find out where his sources of income come from, but they won't find out necessarily anything that he does with personal finances. If there's a business expense that he then paid to somebody else, yeah, that'll come out in a tax return. But unless you're trying to argue that personal payments that he makes to other people on his own dollar, not using a LLC or a company in which he owns and operates, I'm very confused at what you're expecting to see from a tax return. The only thing that I can imagine is that the Democrats are looking for something in his income that would be considered scandalous. Now, that's the same reason why I say I want to see some of the people who have retained, have expanded their net worth, uh, as opposed to somebody who has gone from being a billionaire and actually then proceeded to give away his money to charities or whomever.
Hmm.
I mean, those charitable donations will also come up in a tax return.
If the tax return is given to a grand jury, does that then make it information that can be released to the public?
Potentially.
Yeah, again, I'm not okay with that. I've never been okay
I
with
don't
that
like
kind
it
of.
either.
It's just so. I don't know. It's
I
so
feel like
pathetic.
it's the same thing for me, like trying to get Bernie Sanders when he had willingly released his health records.
Yeah.
I felt that was improper. He decided to do that, but I thought that that was wrong. There are certain things I don't necessarily. Our right to privacy in this country is not codified specifically. It's not an enumerated right by the Constitution, but it is an implied right. It is something that the Supreme Court has ruled on and has said that you have an inherent right to privacy. It's what the Fourth Amendment essentially gives you by
Hmm.
denying the government right to illegally search your vehicle.
Yeah.
Right, you have an inherent right to privacy.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel as if those individuals have a right to retain certain personal information, especially because you have to release the what's it called? The you have to release 10 years of your tax records, I believe is what they want.
10 years.
I was like, that's improper. I think that's wrong. And the only reason I think it's wrong is because what right did the American people have to that information? What what can we argue that we have a vested interest, or the nation has a vested interest in finding out where Donald Trump retained his money in the year 2010? What does that matter?
Sorry, it means absolutely dick to me. It's
And
nothing.
even still, up to 2014, what does it matter to the American people to where Trump got his money? I don't see where this is anything that we should be dealing with at this time. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's right. I think that for the most part, where we're trying, the country and justices are just digging up a lot of shit for the sake of it, or because they themselves have a financial interest. I'd be interested to see if those same judges who have just ruled that Trump must release his tax returns would be so gung ho to release their own. I would be interested,
Hmm.
but I don't know.
Okay, there's a good comment in the chat there. Always lost on nothing else. I'm not smart, but if Trump can't block people on Twitter, then he shouldn't give any information about his tax return. Tit for tat. I have a strange feeling this is going to set a precedent for all presidents, and I don't. I think that's also a dangerous sort of path to go down. Where you mentioned earlier, politicians, you'd like to see their tax returns, and
Yeah,
I personally don't give a shit. But I think if they're going to start doing this, it's going to happen to future presidents, and they're just going to have to hand over the tax returns because why the ball ache? Others mentioned earlier that they won't be able to get him while he's in office, but they will when he leaves. And I'm sat
you
back
see, the
thinking, oh,
Democrats have shot themselves in the foot before when they have tried to lobby for changes to federal positions. It was something that had to do with the Senate or Congress. I believe it was in regards to how much you needed of a certain a percentage of Congress to pass something.
right,
I believe at the time they had tried to um, increase that number. I believe while it was Barack Obama in office, and they succeeded. And then when Trump got into office, they tried to pass something on him, and they said, "Well, no, based on your actions,
Hmm.
we're not allowed to vote on that cleanly. You have to get X amount." Yeah, it's a super majority that they had voted on changing the actual number, or they voted to change different aspects of Congress to require a super majority. But then they really hated it when they didn't. They suddenly weren't able to use it to their own benefit. So in the past, Democrats have already shot themselves in the foot by trying to make these rash actions. And I would be very interested. Let's say Joe Biden does get elected in 2020 and becomes president in 2021. Well, the Supreme Court voted 7-2 to release your tax returns. Joe Biden, I would like to see 10 years of your tax returns. God, the fucking world would explode. People would be bitching and moaning all they want. And you know what? It's your fault.
I just want to go back on the tax return thing, because if people start hammering you, the earlier thought in the chat was that this could lead to prosecution post presidency. And I'll be honest, if that happened to Trump, do you really think he's going to go to a courtroom? It's unlikely, because he's got billion, he's got a lot of money. He doesn't really give a shit. He'll be sat in a McDonald's or in his office, not caring at all, because he has a lot of very expensive lawyers that can do all the arguing for him. And this will just be people looking. This is how it looks to me, I guess. It just looks like a lot of very petty people trying to find a way to say, "I got him," because you couldn't beat him. And I'll be honest, if your best hope is Biden, you may as well just sit the next 4 years out.
Well, that's they keep saying presumptive nominee, but they haven't decided which.
Isn't he won it?
Well, I don't know. The Democratic National Convention isn't until mid-August.
Really? That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I also heard they don't want debates.
No, they actually they want debates, but they want conditions with those debates. I don't know what those conditions were. I didn't care enough to read.
You're a candidate.
Yeah, exactly.
You're vying for his job.
They,
He's the A-side, you
like,
motherfuckers.
It's a fucking mafia thing. Like, yeah, we'll lend you the money, but here's the thing: you owe us 30% interest at the end of 3 months. You get that?
You know,
and it's like, wait, no.
Just to have a debate for Biden and Trump to debate, I'd like it to be a precondition that Biden gets cock-slapped by Trump.
Like, I'm sure one of the conditions was that Joe Biden doesn't need to stand.
No, he has to stand. He has to prove he's in
what
good
about
physical and mental
Kanye
health.
West?
Yeah, he should.
Hey, man.
President
Kanye
West.
2020.
President West. President West. First Lady is a woman we've seen in pornos. It's a step up from seeing nudes of what's her name? Ivana Trump? Melania.
Ivanka's the daughter. I hope not.
Well,
that would just make me uncomfortable.
That might have happened. You never know.
I'm sure it has, but I don't want to find out.
It's a progression, and I'm sure then I guess in the future we'll expect President Mia Khalifa.
You know, she wasn't able to like hold down a job as a teacher because people kept recognizing her.
She's actually campaigning to have all her porn removed from the internet. Now I'm sat back like, you're on the internet
good
all
luck
the time.
With that.
You're on the internet a lot, right? You got over 1 million people signing this. You're on the internet a lot. Do you not realize that they're there for life now? Oh, they denied me jobs. I know the industry teaches you like shit, but they're not gonna. It doesn't. And I'm not saying I don't support you or anything. It's entirely me just being very, very, very neutral and saying there is no chance in hell those videos are disappearing, and you will remain one of the most popular people on Pornhub for a long time since your career ended years ago.
Okay, fine. If you want all of your porn scrubbed from the internet, you don't get a single dollar from anything related to porn ever again.
I think the issue she gets nothing anyway. That's the issue, I think. But yes, who is Mia Khalifa? She was one
She's
of
a
the
porn
most.
star.
Okay, so the video I remember hearing because everyone saw the thumbnails of her dressing up as a Muslim girl wearing a hijab, and yes, that got a lot of attention because she's not Muslim, and yes.
Yeah, but she's not white.
Nope.
She is darker skinned.
But I'm just saying, as a progression from Kanye West and Kim Kardashian, we could just go full porn star or former, or maybe go with someone who is a current one. I don't know any names though. Trups LP for president, everyone. He's a porn star.
I will give them credit though.
What for?
That family is very intelligent.
Yeah. People say they're not, but you have
Kim
to.
Kardashian made a name for herself, made a multi-million-dollar name for herself after having done a porn.
I think she was semi well known, but not as a model mostly.
Yeah. Is she hot? I'm gonna let you decide that for yourself.
Beauty
Go
is
ahead.
subjective.
Google is your friend.
She's not my type, but whatever. Mike Smith, she can remove the porn when she buys the rights. Considering how much money they still pull in, that's not happening.
Hey man, that's how contracts work. You sign your fucking likeness away, deal with it.
Yeah, best of luck, I guess, to Mia Khalifa on that one.
Look, I want to point out that Kanye, though eccentric, is a very smart man. I don't see any of you guys being millionaires here in the chat, or myself, or Meg, for that matter.
So, like Dr. Dre with the Beats headsets, Kanye has made, obviously from his albums, absolute bank, but he's also from Yeezys. And he has very cleverly reinvested in that, and he's using it for good with shelters, homeless shelters as well. He's building. Credit to the guy for this, by the way. I've never worn Yeezys. I don't know if they're any good. I can't comment on that. I've owned a pair of Beats, like Dre's Beats. I gave them to my sister in the end because I didn't like headphones at the time. I really should have kept them. But he's built a massive business, and he knows how to run a business. He knows how to make money. And to be honest, even though many say you don't have to be intelligent to make money, you kind of do.
You kind of do, because you need to be smart enough not to spend your fucking money, and that requires discipline. Which is strangely something that doesn't exist in our world too much. At least in the United States. The idea of discipline and restraint is something that a lot of people...
It doesn't exist here either.
I would be a millionaire if scratch cards weren't rigged. Yeah, you and me both, buddy. You and me both.
I don't touch those things. I'm just poor. Okay. Kanye for president, everyone. I think we've reached the end.
Yeah. Do you have anything to shill, Meg?
Yes, I would like to shill a video. I'm going to put it in the chat. Please go watch it. It's really good. It's by a little-known YouTuber called Trups LP.
Oh.
His video
Is he cool?
on... no, he's a faggot. It's on Black Lives Matter. I'm sure you'll love it. Thank you, Always Lost on Nothing Else. Donation 176. If you acknowledge chat comments, you deserve donations. Good show, fellas. Thank you very much for the £3.96. That's very generous of you. Otherwise, no, I don't want to show anything other than your video. Everyone should go watch and subscribe. About yourself?
Oh, yes. Yes, thank you very much. And for that video, I hope you guys do enjoy that. I would love if you would leave your comments and your thoughts. I will. I would really warn you. I do get a bit heated by the end of it, but it's there. It's there, and I would appreciate your guys' thoughts on it. So if you would come by and comment on it, I would very much appreciate it. Constructive criticism is always welcome. But other than that, I think we are done here today. Thank you all for joining us. Say goodnight, Meg.
Good night, Meg.
Good night, Meg.